remember that morning, I don't remember that night, and it chased me for quite a long time. Thinking to myself, this is just a dream, I can get myself out of it, I can be okay.
It's coming, and then nothing. Have I just experienced death?
When I was around 8 or 9 years old, I had this nightmare that I still remember quite vividly to this day. I'm 25 now. I don't remember if there was any particular event that led up to this nightmare happening. I don't really remember what happened the days before I had this dream. And I had a dream about a very, very large garden. And it was filled with brick paths and large oak trees. And the trees had leaves that were colored of pinks and purples and yellows, and it was just gorgeous. I remember following through the paths of the garden for quite a long time and thinking to myself that I have no idea where this garden actually is, but I do know that it's walled off. Don't know what's outside of it, don't know why I'm here. Eventually I come to a clearing in the middle of the garden. There's this large circle with brick lining it, and in the middle of it was a very large oak tree, larger than the rest. The difference was that this tree was dead. Had been for a long time. And in the middle of it was a crucified skeleton. I remember looking up at the skeleton, and when I did, the rest of the garden around me began to wilt and die. It started rotting. The sky became gray and a fog rolled in. Once this happened, the skeleton then ripped itself off of the tree, picked up a blade, and it began chasing after me. And it chased me for quite a long time. And at one point, I remember becoming lucid in the dream. I remember thinking to myself, this is just a dream, I can get myself out of it, I can be okay. And for some reason, I thought to myself that water is gonna save me. A pool of water is how I'm gonna get to safety. So I imagined a pond ahead of me. It appeared a little further away than I wanted it to, but a pond appeared nonetheless, so I hightailed it as fast as I could to get to this pond, to get inside the pond. So I knew if I was in the water, it couldn't get me. So I run after it, and I jump in. This pond didn't turn out to be so much of a pond as it did a well. A very, very deep well. So deep that when I jumped in, I couldn't see the bottom. It just became black. But I remember the water just rushing over me, and it was warm, kind of. It was a little gross. But I remember jumping in, feeling a little bit safe, and I whipped myself around to see what the skeleton was doing. And as I whip myself around, I see it peering over the edge of the water, looking down at me, and it throws itself into the water after me. And when it hit the water, it fell apart. Bone by bone, it was just falling apart and very gently sinking down to the bottom. My hand never let go of the knife. It kept hold of it. I jumped into that well, it jumped in after me, and it fell apart. I remember waking up the next day, and I don't remember that morning, I don't remember that night. I just remember one part during that day of school where I was just tired. I wasn't exhausted, I wasn't thinking to myself, well, I feel tired because I didn't sleep well last night. I was just tired. A teacher came over to me, asked me if I was okay, and I told her, yeah, I'm good. And she said, okay, and that was it.
Oh my god, Ben's dream is just dripping in symbology. Dreaming of a beautiful garden is a very, very positive dream. The garden is typically a symbolic representation of your life, with the plants and the trees being the various aspects of self. If the garden is beautiful and well kept, that usually means you're satisfied with how things are going on for you. Skeletons can symbolize many, many things, including loss, being stripped of or losing control, and even a fear of death itself. Now, being chased by a skeleton can represent sometimes guilt. So it's most likely that Ben's aggressive skeleton is actually a part of his 8-year-old self that feels vulnerable, bare, or essentially stripped to the bone. I find it very interesting that at the center of Ben's garden was a dead tree, larger than the other trees. Now, to me, this suggests a core belief or a center or an aspect of Ben's 8-year-old self that was challenging and confronting for him. Perhaps he viewed himself as defective in some way. The knife usually suggests emotional conflict, division, and separation. A need to review your life, cut things out, and maybe get rid of a few things. But finally, dreaming of a pond is most often associated with your emotional state. All of the emotions that are going on for you and the condition of the water in the pond, that's an insight into how balanced and emotionally stable you feel. The more clear and calm and cool the water is, the more chill, the more stable your emotions are. More cloudy, murky, and choppy the water is, that's usually a sign that there's something going on for you that is a bit, unstable. So to put all this together and knowing nothing else about Ben, I would say that there was some core aspect of Ben's personality at the age of 8 or 9 that he felt exposed by the skeleton, and he desperately wanted to get rid of the knife, as he clearly felt very threatened by this, the chasing. Perhaps he felt he was not good enough in school. He was bullied, and maybe he wasn't good at sport, and he had to adapt as a student, as a child. He tried to outrun these feelings, and running away in a dream is almost always an avoidance strategy in waking life. Interestingly, Ben had the intuition and emotional intelligence to manifest a pond in his dream, which represents emotional tranquility. Because he only had this dream the once, and Ben seems today to be a well put together chap, he obviously sorted out whatever aspect of himself the skeleton represented. So well done, Ben. It looks like this dream had a happy ending.
A nightmare that I normally have, it's mainly when I fall into sort of a vivid, deep sleep. You know, when they say it's a lucid dream, when it feels like it's actually happening. Mostly the scenarios change, but the end outcome always stays the same, whether it's like with my family, with friends, in Australia, or maybe, in another country or something. It always happens where somehow I'm either on a beach or, in a street or in my house, and on the horizon is like a sort of doomsday volcano of the world crumbling, like in front of us. Tornado wave cloud of just fire and lava and the atmosphere coming towards us, and we're sort of helpless. We have like no choice but to just disintegrate. But the thing what makes it so creepy but cool at the same time is when it gets closer and then it hits me, it goes white and then pitch black, like it's nothing. In your mind, like in that moment, your mind tells you, am I dead? Is this death? You can't see yourself, you can't see the hands in front of you, it's just, it's coming, and then nothing. And you wake up back in your bedroom, in your bed, my bedroom, sort of in a panic. But that little second right there of that nothingness, it's cool, but it's creepy because of how vivid and lucid the dream is. You think, Have I just experienced death? Am I dead right now? I mean, it's kind of cool in a way because I guess you could say I've experienced death, you know, a couple of times if that is what death is like in the afterlife, but that's my nightmare for you guys.
The end of the world. Somebody call Will Smith. The two main things that are usually associated with apocalyptic dreams are stress and massive change. So to dream about the end of the world can literally mean Muggsy's either going through or he's about to go through a very stressful time in his life. No doubt, being an aspiring hip-hop artist, that would be stressful for anyone. With the theme of the wave of destruction dissipating as it hits him, now that would suggest that he has irrational subconscious core beliefs. That's what the wave is. And his rational mind, as it hits him, is able to deconstruct those beliefs. So maybe Muggsy's done some CBT work in the past, some cognitive behavioral therapy, to challenge some of these irrational beliefs. If so, nice work, Muggsy. Positively, he always survives this dream, so I would say Muggsy's feeling pretty confident of his abilities to face and conquer his challenges.
Next on the Dark Dreamers.
And there he was, there. Wasn't having any horns or anything. It was just like a normal human being.
That I have to fight for my life because this woman wanted to kill me. The only thing I could do was to fight her. I fear what I'm able to do while I'm sleepwalking.